It's all copium, pure, uncut copium, but for good reason. I am AQBS and this is Back to the Barber. It's all copium, pure, uncut copium. The stuff that we ingest in large amounts to give us this temporary high, making us feel better about the current state of hair loss restoration. I can't think of a better, more fitting word for where we stand. Copium, a combination of coping and opium. It's one of those made up internet slang or memes that just makes you feel like it's a real word. And I tell you no lie, we sure consume a lot of it in men's hair loss, but for good reason. I don't know if I will keep this video up. I'm not sure if it will age well, and I'm most certain that it goes against my brain of you all can do it too and there's hope. But sometimes, every so often, even men have to just sit back, sigh, and just reflect. I don't expect to get many likes or comments on this video. I'm not certain if this video will be helpful at all in a practical sense. But something tells me that despite a like or comment, you will silently nod in agreement. Why do you even care about hair loss? Is what they ask in so many words. I mean, it's just hair. You're a man. It doesn't really matter, really. It's about the work that you do or your character, not the amount of hair that you have on your temples. And everything they state rings true. It's hard to argue or rebuttal those points, but what they fail to realize is hair, like any other part of your body, has and will always be a part of your identity. The ironic part about hearing this statement is we mostly hear from people who have never experienced appearance changing hair loss. Operative word, appearance changing hair loss. Or if it's a man, he probably has already given up, or perhaps he's one of the very few that look better completely bald. There are so many deviations of this argument or view towards men's hair loss that I couldn't possibly cover them all, but the common overall theme is that society at large unconsciously minimizes the importance of men's self-care and self-image. We may not be the bulk of beauty product consumers, but having your hair that you grew, that represents your father and mother and those before them, is not necessarily about beauty or vainness as much as normalcy, our normalcy. To make a man feel less than a man because he wants to look in the mirror and see himself is to dehumanize him. So we take a little copium. We pretend like it doesn't matter, all the while pricing hair transplants, taking our pills, mixing herbs, and watching YouTube videos just like this one. Some of these channels are nothing but copium dealers. By telling you to proudly shave it off, you can, but I am willing to bet it's a last resort until someone presents an alternative. There's a low humming shame in losing your hair. It's hard to explain because if you think about it, beauty fades. It doesn't just disappear. The face and the body slowly ages, but the years and the changes walk side by side. Whereas in men's hair loss, many of us begin this confidence dissolving journey before we even found ourselves or learned what it means to be a man. Can you imagine being in the process of just starting to grow a beard, but you're already losing hair? Many of you have experienced this, me included. Our mentality is 28. Our clothes say 28. Our goals are 28, but our scalp is 20 years our senior. This affects not necessarily who we want to date, but it's painful to admit. Who would want to date us? Am I saying too much? Is this too raw? How many of you decided to stay home before because you didn't have a hat to match your outfit? How many of you have that one hairstyle that is a temporary shield against the anxiety of hair loss? How many of you have a shaved head with matching biceps and a beard to compensate for your lack of hair? How's that copium? Let me be frank. Some of us don't look good bald. You can put up a zillion videos, get a zillion likes, but most of us never look good bald. We only look better bald than balding. The clean bald look seems better because the hairs get wispy, the hairline becomes unnatural, the thickness becomes thin, but at least being bald, it's clean. But that doesn't mean we look better bald. It means going bald is less appealing than being bald visually. There's also something with acceptance, which translates to others as confidence. But really, it's involuntary in a form of copium. The shame of losing hair almost comes from a place of failing. It's not like you failed to do something specific. It almost feels like internally you failed to hold up against the world around you. You failed to successfully age through your issues and problems to come out victorious. The shame is unfounded, but it's a deep down hidden shame of not holding up. And men, if we don't do anything else, we are expected to hold up, to survive and thrive in the face of adversity. Hair loss seems to point to the fact that we are defective, maladapted, and in some unsettling way weak. Weak DNA, weak follicles, weak body. So weak that we couldn't keep a measly and unimportant thing like hair growing, so we cope. Shame comes in many forms. The shame of missing something when others around us have it. It's like when you were a boy and your group of friends all received awards or pins for something. And although you were a good sport, a part of you felt left out, sad almost, that you didn't have what it took to get what they all received. Everyone says hair loss doesn't matter and there are more important things to think about. But if you ask these same people these questions, you would get a totally different response. Ask a man this question. If you were 6'2" your entire life, would you mind losing 4 inches to be an average man's height? 95% of men will say that's not something they sign up for. Ask a woman, would you flatten your breasts and square your hips if you had an opportunity? I am guessing 95% of women would say no. The 5% of both men and women who don't care are probably elderly, but if they were younger, all bets are off. I say this to say that's what hair loss, especially significant appearance changing hair loss, does to men. Suddenly, without your permission, one of the first things that people see when they look at you is slowly going to shit. And you're not supposed to care one bit. So if no one else has told you, and if there is no one in your personal life to talk about this with, without ironically feeling the shame of actually caring about balding, your feelings are valid. We already abhor losing hair, man, or receding. How dare someone tells you that you shouldn't feel any way about it? They don't understand. They won't until life presents a similar circumstance. It's not about the hair at all. It's about our identity. You're not vain. You're not majoring in minors or being dramatic. You are simply being human. And humans generally want to present the best version of themselves. Which brings me to my next point, the pain in losing your hair. Like shame, there's an undercurrent of pain associated with hair loss. This pain, this subtle tenderness, is derived from many aspects of dealing with androgenic alopecia. One form of the pain is the fact that it is involuntary. When it comes to male pattern balding, it takes years before you actually see what's occurring. But once it outwardly shows itself, most of us are confused by its appearance. Yes, we saw that our father was bald. Perhaps our mother's brothers were bald. But a part of us felt so healthy, alive, and young. And many of us eat clean, have had decent lives, and at least lived life just as the others around us have. And they are not bald. So why would we? See, we all have that one friend or relative that put their bodies through the ringer and they have a head full of hair. So it's possible, I guess. So when we start to visually bald, no matter if you all say it's genetic or not, we say, why me? This is because the pain of not having a choice runs really deep. That was my biggest problem with hair loss. Choice. If I ate like crap, didn't have an active life, I am telling my body and really forcing it to gain unhealthy weight. If I did drugs and drank excessively, then I can force my liver, kidneys, or heart to malfunction. We kind of suspect that what we do has consequences, that actions lead to reactions, that what we sow, we shall reap. But hair loss? I mean, what the hell did I do that another 32-year-old hasn't done? Absolutely nothing. For many of you, you've done quite less. but here you are. It's like the only quote-unquote genetic disease that literally ages a man and changes his appearance. And for many of us, we are strapped down to this ride that we never bought a ticket for. Not having a choice was my thorn that created this whole back to the barber phenomenon, truthfully. And I took copium after copium after copium until about 40, and I decided there has to be a better way. I read once in a comment that you never really get over hair loss. I wish that person was wrong, but they're right. Even at middle age, really especially at middle age, because you kind of get this second gust of wind in life. And what was good for this first half is not good enough for this second half. You wake up one day and say, wow, half of my life is probably over. And that's a really weird thought, and it drives you toward optimization. We start to really get on our physical regimen, really watching our diet, skincare, supplements. It almost feels like we are trying to extract as much life that we possibly can out of this second half. It's beautiful in many ways. This is why I say copium is good until it's not. Like it or not, hair is an important part of our appearance. For many of us, we just want to look like ourselves. Nothing special. Maybe change our cut every so often. I mean, no one wants to wear the same clothes or shoes every day, despite their age or resources. Why would anyone want the same hairstyle for 40 years? In severe balding, there are only two choices: razor bald or the infamous faded horseshoe look that I wore for like 13 years. And before anyone says having a shaved buzz cut is the easiest hairstyle, I call BS, and that doesn't stand for bro science. We all know here, many of us grow our hair longer on the sides to cover the top, or many of us keep it low to hide the fact that we are balding, and all that takes almost daily upkeep. Maybe having an omega non-balding scalp is easy when you wear the buzz cut, but for men, eventually that nice even buzz cut will get lower and lower as the top disappears and becomes shiny while the sides stay the course. We shave it low, or pull hairs from the side, or grow it long in the back and whoosh it to the front, or grow it thick on the top to cover the receding. But it's just copium, fresh copium, just enough to hold us over. The pain of feeling lost and desperately hopeless, trying to find our way out of the maze, seeking information to reverse hair loss, and are halted only to find ourselves coming across information that exclaims, it's just natural, and there's nothing that you can do about your genes. You either save it or you shave it. Once it's gone, and other misinformation is rampant out here. The pain and the fear that it's only going to get worse keeps many of us up at night. Our bodies are just losing it, and we can't make it stop. So we search, buy, listen to videos like this one, trying to glean anything that's going to ice the pain a bit. But there are other forms of pain right underneath the surface. The visual cue that you are aging physically, but your life is not where you want it to be, is a subtle pain for us. You are looking like a dad, or old enough to be a dad, or even granddad for some of us, but it's just the hair that's aging you. I see myself in pictures, and I'm certain having hair would at least knock 5 to 7 years off me, and more for some of you all. You disagree? Pass the copium to the right. You've had it long enough, my brother. I mean, is it me, or do you blame yourself a bit, just a bit, for your hair loss? With everything that you know now, right? It's almost regretful that things still went this way. The finestrized, the monoxes, the herbs and tools and transplants and other mitigation efforts existed before you began to bald, right? I mean, technically, you heard about a few of them, but you procrastinated or ignored the warnings. You focused on the potential cons and not the pros. You may even scoffed at the fact that you were balding when evidence said otherwise. See, first it was a bad haircut. Then it was your ex who stressed you out. Then it was cheap shampoo, or taking Tren, creatine, your diet of Fireball and ramen noodles way back in college, and finally the damn job. And there's a bit of regret there, because why didn't you stop it before it got this bad? Why are you listening to some random American guy preach to you about plaque, alpha conditions, and feminine follicles at this point? It's over, man. Done. Maybe you should just shave it off and accept what fate and your genes had in store for you. Copium, not needed. The regret of not catching it in time or somehow living in a more ideal way would have somehow changed things, I guess. And truthfully, that is the case. Had you found the trigger of your hair loss and eradicated it, there's a significant chance hair loss would have been non-existent or way less severe and pronounced. However, remember, more than likely, you made the same exact choices as everyone else, if not better. These were just the cards that we were dealt, and the deck was stacked against us, obviously. It's like we regret the decisions that we made and regret the decisions that we didn't make at the same exact time, which is unrealistic. We regret the image that we see staring back at us in the mirror, or pictures almost seems unfinished or incomplete with our receding hairlines and thinning hairs. We regret how the same medicine or pill that has no side effects for our friend is making us limp or depressed. We regret the fact that we may have to give up our natural virality just to keep what we have. We regret that we took after our mother's side, not our father's side. We regret having to wait for the next hair loss method that will finally end our misery and allow us to just, be ourselves. Nothing special, nothing unusual, nothing out of the norm. We just want to see us, how we've always seen us. At some point, the copium no longer gets us high. We want out. We want freedom. We just want it back, man. Did anything I say here strike a nerve? Can you relate? Hope so, but in a good way. Just know that we both have been here, but it looks like there is hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel. I am a living witness to the fact that you can get your high school hairline back. Is it easy? No. Is it fast? I wish. Is it an exact science? One day it will be. Until then, iron sharpens iron and we only have each other. And remember, if I can do it, you all can do it too. Let's get you back to the barber.